Good evening. Good evening. I love hearing all of your conversations. This is so fun. This is part of what tonight is about, for you to be able to connect. But I just want to get this program started. And thank you so much for being here. We are so incredibly grateful that you are here, that you showed up. That's a huge part of what Amplify is about, is just showing up and using what God brings to mind tonight. So thank you for being here. If you are new, a special welcome to you. There's going to be a prize for a couple of newbies in the room tonight that I will announce at the end of the evening. You have probably noticed that there are folks walking around with balloons tied to their wrists, and that is intentional. We do have, those are called our hospitality hosts, and they are here to greet you, show you the lay of the land. So if you have any questions about Amplify, most of them are our board members or have been with Amplify for a very long time, and they would love to help answer any questions you have. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the food. The food comes from Grace-Filled Table. That's another nonprofit, and they actually presented at Amplify a while back. And so you tonight participating and eating their food is part of their mission, because they are about connecting people through community and food. So Grace-Filled Table is graciously and generously helps provide the food for us on these evenings when you come to an Amplify meeting. And I'm sure you've noticed also that we have a video crew walking around tonight, and we also have a photographer walking around. So we do have a video crew here who is working on our Amplify fundraiser video. So I'll tell you a little bit more about our Amplify fundraiser that's coming up on October 2nd at the end of this evening. But wanted to let you know that you put that on your date on your calendar so you can see your smiling face as the video crew tonight is taking a video for that fundraiser video. And Randy Hepner, he has been so generous in using his gifts of photography to really bless us so that we can have beautiful photos of this event that the nonprofit executive directors love to use and that we love to use. So Randy is just really intentional about using his gifts and skills, and that's what Amplify is all about. And so we're really grateful for you sharing those gifts with us. I want to thank our sponsors for this evening as well. Our sponsors really make tonight possible, helping generously provide financial support for this evening in order for us to be able to host in this room and have the meal for you tonight, as well as the marketing materials. And so our sponsor, the first sponsor I'd love to introduce you tonight, is Triune Leadership Services. And a little bit about Triune. They help individuals and organizations reach their God-given potential and pursue their purpose by modeling Jesus through the principles that are captured in the book Leading Jesus' Way. Servant leadership enables leaders to create a positive, purpose-driven, values-based culture, and organizations, companies that adopt the model of Leading Jesus' Way perform better, have higher employee satisfaction, lower turnover, and higher profit. So tonight we are joined by Andrew Legval, who is with Triune Leadership Services, so thank you. There's many in the room who have gone through the Triune program as well, so thank you for your sponsorship. We are really grateful. In addition, I want to thank Chuck Squires. So Chuck Squires is also helping financially support tonight's event, and Chuck is over here. Thank you, Chuck. So I want to share something about Chuck. When I first met Chuck, which was just about a month ago, we were sitting at the table, and what really hit me is he said, after retiring from a successful professional career, he said, I want to use my gifts until I'm called home. So isn't that a testimony to all of us? So really grateful for inspiring me and now this room tonight, Chuck, so thank you. This year's theme for Amplify is Embrace Wonder. And when I was thinking about this theme, this story comes to mind. So when my youngest daughter, I have 3 daughters, when my youngest daughter was a toddler, she liked to control everything. And I guess that's probably toddler likeness, right? You can relate to that. But she was really to the extreme. So a toy would be taken away from her, or she would be strapped in a car seat, or I'd put her in the cart at Target, and she would pass out. So it was called, and the doctors had a name for it, and they said not to worry because this is called the breath-holding spell. And it won't last very long, but what it looked like is her eyes would roll in the back of her head, her lips would turn purple or blue, and she literally would lose consciousness for about 10 seconds. I could blow in her face, and she would come back to this perky, screaming toddler again. But that was her way of controlling what she couldn't control. And so when I thought about embrace wonder, I thought, how often in life do we hold our fists tight or want to hold our breath, literally? But when we do that, it's really hard to see the plans that God has for us. We grip tightly to our plans. We grip tightly to our comfort, our expectations. And in that posture, it's hard to see wonder, let alone embrace it. But when we loosen that grip, when we let go and we surrender, God has an amazing way of using our stories, even the messy, the surprising, or scary parts. And when I think about our executive directors who are going to share tonight, I think about that, of how they embraced wonder, how they're using the messy parts of their life, the surprising parts of their life, or scary parts, and really just embracing wonder and where God led them to lead their organizations. And so tonight, after they present, I'm going to ask you to also embrace wonder about how you can walk alongside them, how you can help answer the questions they put in front of you tonight, and how we can help propel them forward in the way that God is intentionally purposed them to lead their organizations. Before the nonprofits present, we have a wonderful guest speaker that I'm excited to introduce you to, but first, I'm going to pray for our evening. Lord, we are thankful that you're with us wherever we go, that you are the transformer of our lives, and that you do redeem the hard in our lives for good. And we will hear from Tommy, the executive director of Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Hoops tonight, that you have redeemed his life. And Lord, we ask that you continue to guide him as he leads his nonprofit, making a huge impact on the lives of young men in our community. And we thank you for Art to Heart, who will be sharing about how this nonprofit store is blessing our community through creativity and prayer. We give our time tonight to you. We thank you for all who are in this room and their willingness to embrace wonder and use their gifts for impact. In Jesus' name, amen. Well, I now have the joy of introducing you to Aaron Bogot. Aaron has been a volunteer of Amplify for a couple of years, and it has been a joy for me to be able to get to know Aaron as he has encouraged me in my leadership and taking the step into the president role at Amplify as well. So we're going to listen to how God has worked in Aaron's life and celebrate with him the ways that God has worked in his life tonight.
Thank you so much, Andrea. Amplify family, it's good to be with you this evening. I'm real excited to be here and to share a little bit about my story. When I was growing up, I didn't hold my breath and pass out, but I did think a lot about a place across the world. At that time, it was called the Soviet Union, and I thought about who are those people, and what is that country, and what is it all about? I remember watching the TV broadcast, of all the military parades and the missiles and the tanks. I thought, whoa, what kind of place is this? And who are they? Well, in 1992, a couple of days after Christmas, I had the opportunity to step off a plane in Moscow onto the cobblestone square of Red Square and enter this iconic place that I had only seen on television. There was the Kremlin off to my right with Lenin's tomb right in front of it. Off to the other side was the old Soviet department store called the GUM, And straight ahead was, of course, the iconic cathedral of St. Basil's Cathedral with those onion-shaped domes with all the colorful spires to them. And I thought, wow, what is this place that I've come to? And who are these people? And shortly after I arrived and entered the square and was just wondering at all these things, and my theme tonight too will be Embrace Wonder, and you will hear that through these stories. But as I was in that square, there was a man coming up to me with some dark trench coat and kind of a hat, and he looked really gruff on the outside, and he walked up to me, and I thought, who is this? Is this the KGB? Are they going to interview me right here, right now, in the square, find out who I am? But the man walks up, and he opens his trench coat, and he says, would you like to buy a fur hat? And I knew then and there that this next quarter century that I would spend over in Russia would be one of adventure, and one that would be exciting. And I would get to know and meet these people and find out who they are and who God had created them to be. So I want to share some of those stories with you tonight, and I hope that we can take this journey of wonder through a land that's quite far away, but yet they are people just like us. First of all, I want to start off with a question. Who knows in which city was the 2014 Winter Olympics held? Anybody? Who said that first? Who was back there? Right back there. Sochi, absolutely. Sochi was the city where the Winter Olympics were held. I have something for you at the end, so come find me. I lived in a city not too far from there, 5 hours actually north of there, in a town called Krasnodar. And this is the first story I want to share with you, is that while I was there, we would have short-term missions teams come to the city, and we would take them out on different things. And I noticed a trend. The first year that they came, a bunch of young teenagers, 18, 19-year-olds, and just like me, walking off the plane in Moscow and people coming up to you and speaking in Russian, and they're like talking in your face, and I got scared, and I was like, somebody quick, teach me how to say, I don't speak Russian. So every short-term team wanted to know how to say, I don't speak Russian. So of course, first year I taught them how to say, I don't speak Russian. And then the scenario happened and unfolded just like this. The American's out in the street. A Russian comes up to him and says, hey, what time is it? American turns around in perfect Russian, because they memorized this thing. I don't speak Russian. Russian looks at him and goes, what do you mean you don't speak Russian? You just said in Russian you don't speak Russian. Of course you speak Russian. By this time, the American's hightailing it out of there, running down the street, and the Russians running after him say, hey, you still haven't told me what time it is. So I finally got wise. The second year we had teams come to town. And I taught them a phrase that I want to teach you this evening. The phrase is this: ya, like ya sure you betcha, ya, ni, ya, ni. Okay, the last one's going to be really hard, but just bear with me. Kuru. Ruffles have ridges. Kuru. Kuru. Ya, ni, kuru. Good. All right, you guys got it. All right, so when you go to Russia, just use that phrase, okay? It means I don't speak Russian. Well, not quite. So next, we're out on the streets, and a Russian would come up to the American and say, hey, do you have a smoke? They try to bum cigarettes off you. Hey, do you have a smoke? The American turns around, ya ni kuryu. And the Russian, oh, okay, and walks off. Perfect. It worked. And then, another American would be on the bus, and the Russian would come up behind them. They're packed, full of people, and would stand up behind them and say, hey, are you getting off at the next stop? American would look around and go, ya ni kuryu. Russian looks strangely at him, pushes him out of the way, and hops off the bus. And so finally I had to break it to the team at the end of their missions trip what they actually were saying. And what they actually were saying is, I don't smoke. But it took care of everything. Either the Russian thought they were crazy, or when they tried to bum a cigarette off of them, they knew you couldn't find any here, they don't smoke, so it doesn't matter anyway. All right, second question of the evening. Who knows when the Russian Orthodox people celebrate Christmas? January what? 6th. Good. Yes. Come see me afterwards. January 6th. So like I always like to say that, in Russia, Christmas always comes twice a year. So the 25th and the 6th of January. My second story, I want to share a story about a hospital that my now wife and I worked in for several years. When we came to this hospital, it was a tuberculosis hospital, and the kids were not actively sick with tuberculosis, but had had it at some time, and the hospital served more like an orphanage than it actually did a hospital. But the relationship with the doctors and nurses were, these are the sick ones, we treat them, they do whatever they do. And so we came to this hospital, and the kids were just bouncing off the walls and just going crazy, and we thought, there's probably a better way. And so we would come week after week after week for several years, began sharing stories with the kids from the Bible, and basically telling them, if you want to come outside and play with us, you need to sit and listen to the stories. So the kids got accustomed to that. If they misbehaved, they had to stay inside. If they listened, they got to come outside, and there was a reward for that. And it began to slowly change the behavior of the kids, and then when a new kid would come to the hospital, they would also quickly learn, if you want to go outside and play with Aaron and Ramona, you better listen to their story, and it permeated. And so in 1996, when we left Krasnodar, Russia, it was a very sad moment because there was nobody to take over this ministry, nobody to continue to meet and share the love of God with these kids. And so we left, and in 2001, we returned to do tent-making missions, and we decided to make a trip down to Krasnodar. And so we found the hospital. We called up the head doctor and the head nurse and said, hey, can we come? And we bought a whole bunch of stuff for the kids. The kids had all changed. They had all rotated out of this hospital. But we came, and we brought a bunch of stuff, and the most amazing thing happened. When we walked in that room that day in 2001, after being gone for many, many years, the doctors and nurses called in the kids. And instead of complete mayhem, the kids came in and they sat down. And there were several nurses around the room on chairs, and each one of them had one, if not two or three kids on their knees and was embracing them. And so we got done sharing with the kids, and we went and had tea with the head doctor and head nurse and said, what's going on here? What's happened? This hospital we don't recognize this hospital anymore. And they said, well, Aaron and Ramona, we saw your example of love for these kids and how that love poured into their lives made our job easier. And we realized when you left, we didn't want to lose that. And we began instilling and doing that with all of our nurses and doctors who work this floor. We began to share that. What a testimony of God's love. Just amazing testimony. Another question for you. Who knows what city in Russia is called the Venice of the North? Anybody? A guess? St. Petersburg. Absolutely. St. Petersburg. We lived there for over 20 years with my family and I. I want to share an amazing story from there as well. Shortly after moving on from one of the businesses I worked with, there was an international Christian school in the city who had, shortly before I arrived, just won a huge court case against a huge government body over there, only to find out very short time after that they were about to lose the school building that they were meeting in and had to find a new place, and they had 9 months to do it. And they didn't have anybody on the team who knew real estate or what to do, and I had background in real estate, so they called me up and said, Aaron, could you come help our Christian school find its new building? I said, well, I'm not working right now, so I certainly could. And I did, and I joined the team. And the most amazing thing happened. For 2.5 months, I searched the entire city and found 74 different buildings that could be a potential place. Narrowed that down, and we signed a lease on one. And then we began working on 25,000 square feet of space and renovating it so that we could have a school in there. And there was lots of government requirements, and began working in parallel with all the requirements for the permissions to open a school. And lo and behold, in 8.8 months, the school was opened and began teaching again and sharing the love of Christ with the students and also business students who came thinking they were just going to learn English, but were hearing about the love of Christ. And you know the amazing thing that I find with God and embracing the wonder of what He has for us is only a few years later, after having opened this school, we thought we had made it. You know, one of those things where you made it, and this is the building, and it's beautiful. And even the building that we found, the man who renovated the facade of it had some symbols on it that were mathematical symbols. We thought, wow, for a school, and it's already been pre-prepared for us, and you think, oh, we're going to be here forever. You know, kind of like Peter up on the mountain. But a few years later, we had to move on from that school building. But this time, as we were losing this school building, we now had only 7 months to find a new place. And lo and behold, we were led down a path, found another building, renovated another 25,000 square feet of space, got permissions from the Ministry of Education, and we were open in 6.5 months. You can't top God. He always has something more special in mind for us, and he does amazing things. The final story I want to leave you with tonight is, during COVID, my family and I were living over in Russia, and my wife contracted COVID and got very, very, very sick. She was sick for several weeks, so much so where at one point in the sickness, her entire body ached. She literally you couldn't touch her at all. It was so painful. And at the end, before we took her into the hospital, she was down to 74% oxygen. And a doctor friend had told me on a couple of occasions, you know, your wife might not survive this. She may go home to be with the Lord. And I wrestled a lot with that, a lot. And so the night before we took her into the hospital, I called my kids into the room, and I had to share that news. Definitely the hardest thing I've ever done. Sharing that with my kids, and then crying and weeping together, and praying. And so the next day, I spent that evening sleeping outside her room just to make sure she didn't stop breathing. And we took her in the next day to the hospital, and I saw her off down that long, concrete Russian corridor. A hospital that had 2,000 beds that used to treat all sorts of diseases was now 100% dedicated to COVID. And I dropped her off, not knowing if I would see her again. Had lots of people praying here in the States. We were praying, lots of friends in Russia praying. And within a week, she walked out of that hospital. Not completely healed, of course. She still had restoration of those lungs, but completely out of the danger zone. And it was a miracle, a definite miracle. And so when I think about this theme to embrace wonder that Andrea shared, I think about not the awe of some event that happens in my own life, but I think about who it is with whom I'm walking through the adventures in life, and that being God. And so for me, to embrace wonder is to embrace Jesus, and that's what I wanted to share this evening. May God bless you.
Well, thank you so much, Aaron. I really appreciate what you shared. It would be really hard to walk this life without Jesus. So thank you for sharing the stories in the way that Jesus met you in your life and your journey. Before we continue the rest of the agenda for this evening, I want to just share a little bit about Amplify. Every time I meet a person who comes into this room, they say, you know, I'm not sure I understand everything about Amplify. And so we're not doing our job if I don't educate you just a little bit. Just take a little bit of time. So I'm going to tell you about the 3 programs with Amplify. Amplify really is, if you want to think about a succinct way of sharing what Amplify is, it's what happens when business leaders and nonprofit change makers stop working alone and start working together, start building together, right? So we connect business leaders, you, with nonprofit ministries to help amplify their impact. And there are 3 main Amplify programs. I'm going to tell you about the Amplify journey tonight. So those nonprofit ministries who will be presenting in just a moment, they're on the Amplify journey. And it doesn't start tonight. It started 3 months ago with 2 or 3 incredible coaches that walk alongside these nonprofit ministry executive directors who really help them by asking tough questions, right? Tommy's nodding his head, asking tough questions helping peel back the layers of the onion, we like to say, with their organization, and really digging in to help them form a clear and presentation for you tonight that ends with a strategic ask. It's hard work. And they poured into this. And I'm so proud of both of the executive directors who are presenting tonight because they have come a long way in these last 3 months. And I'm also really proud of their coaches who asked some incredible questions. So when you get a chance to be a coach, you get to see this process, and it's really, really rewarding. After tonight, what happens after the brainstorm session is they get a book of your ideas and connections. And then we as coaches, the volunteer coaches, and we as an Amplify team, we help them figure out what are you going to do next to move forward, to overcome that obstacle that they put in front of you tonight, that challenge that they put in front of you tonight, and we'll walk alongside them as they continue to move forward on this journey. So that's the Amplify journey, that's the AMP journey. Our second program is the AMP Academy, and we have 31 executive directors and mid-level managers that will be graduating. I see one over here. Graduating, we're talking about graduating now in May from this 9-month AMP Academy. So the AMP Academy really is about the leaders learning more about themselves. Who are they as a leader? How God created them? How are they showing up? How they lead their teams and how they lead their organizations to be more sustainable so they can truly focus more on who they are called to serve. And then our third program is AMP Up. So not every nonprofit ministry has the opportunity to stand up here and be able to present, but we want to be able to make sure that we can serve them in the ways that they need to be served. So we have nonprofits who apply we ask them the question, what keeps you up at night? What keeps you up at night? If you could solve that issue and you could focus more on who you were called to serve, what would that be? And then we find a consultant, one of you in the room, who has that skill, who has that expertise, who we can match them with strategically. And that's our AMP Up program. And sometimes it is just mentorship of just showing up and encouraging, and because we all want to walk alongside our journey in life with another, and that matters. Okay, so you see on your table, there's a postcard, and that says Wonder on it. I want to invite you to be the first tonight to learn about our upcoming fundraiser on October 2nd, where we are going to continue to embrace wonder. If any of you were there last year for the fundraiser and heard Bob Goff is highly endorsing Harris III, who speaks about the power of wonder in life and in work. And he's an illusionist and a magician, so it's a night that you won't want to miss. Plus, you will learn more about Amplify and the work we're doing, and be able to hear some inspirational music, and be able to come alongside us to financially support our organization. So I'm going to now have you watch a video of Harris III so you can get a little taste.
Hey, Amplify Mission Network, Harris III here, and I am so excited to be with you all on October 2nd. It's going to be such a special evening together as we dare to wonder just a little bit more than maybe you are currently wondering. You don't want to miss this event. In addition to supporting an organization you already know and love, I have a message for you that's going to challenge and inspire you to step out of some of the worry that's connected to the change that we're all constantly facing, the unprecedented pace of that change that is creating so much leadership pressure, and help us move out of that worry into a little bit more wonder so that our jaded cynicism can turn into a little bit more curiosity so we don't miss the opportunities and the possibility that exists all around us. I have spoken to and created experiences for leaders at companies ranging from Apple and Google and Meta to Amazon and Nike and Disney. And there's something that all of those leaders share in common with you, and I want to share it with you. Again, it's going to be absolutely incredible. So put the event on your calendar now, and I'll see you in October for a night that will wow you and invite you back in to a type of wonder that can transform everything.
Okay, are you excited? I'm excited. Well, wonderful. We hope that you can mark that date on your calendar and that you can be with us it is intentional that there are 2 postcards at your place. That is for you to give one to a friend and invite them, and the other is for you, so you can save the date. We also have a special right now. It's listed on the card, but you can purchase right now 4 tickets for the price of 3 tickets using the promo code 4PACK, which you will find printed on the postcard. And to purchase tickets tonight, there's the QR code on the screen. You also have an email in your inbox right now. So when you get home or early tomorrow morning, you can register, you can buy your ticket then. So we'd love for you to be able to join us. We don't want you to miss this special night with us on October 2nd. All right, now we're going to move into our next part of the evening. I'd love for everyone to pull out their feedback form. That has a place for you to put your name at the top, so I would love for you to be able to do that. And this feedback form, this is really for you to take notes, to write down encouragement, ideas, thoughts, connections while the nonprofits present tonight. This form is used and does go into the summary report that we do give the executive directors. So this is helpful information. On the feedback form in the middle, there is a tangible needs box that each nonprofit ministry has listed. So if you are able to help with any of those, you can check the box of those that you're able to help with. All right, the nonprofits that are presenting here tonight, I just want to give a round of applause to their coaches. You see their coaches up on the screen. They have really gifted a lot of their time and their expertise to these nonprofit executive directors. We've met 4 times, 2 hours each time, 8 hours, and the executive directors did a lot of work in between, as did the coaches in between in helping them prepare for tonight. So I just want to give a round of applause to these coaches that you see on your screen. And now I'd like to invite one of the coaches up, Pamela Strawman, who is going to introduce our first presenting nonprofit, Art to Heart.
15 years ago, my kids were going to school in Maple Grove, Heritage Christian Academy. And I had a dozen friends who were moms, my besties, who were partnering together with Bible studies, making crafts together, and going to this cute little store and selling goods to raise money for other ministries around the world. That organization was called Art to Heart. And I was like, oh, cute for them. I live too far away, but I was like, you guys are doing great. And I went to the store a couple times. That was a dozen years ago. Fast forward to 2018. My husband passed away suddenly. A couple of weeks later, I got a package in the mail from Art to Heart. It touched me like you wouldn't believe. You see me getting verklempt now. My friends, some of them didn't know me because there's a lot of people who volunteer at Art to Heart, you'll find out. But there was encouraging bookmarker, little gifts, things that they had made, and it was so encouraging. I became a donor at that point. Fast forward to last summer, 2024. I've been volunteering here with Amplify. Amplify knocks on my door and says, hey, we got this organization we'd like you to be a consultant with until they can get up to the 3-month coaching process for the presentation. Would you work with this organization called Art to Heart? Yes, I'm in. So God, he is full of wonder. So Janine, come on up. And we've had a lot of fun. I'm so excited for you to learn more about all the things that Art to Heart does for us here in our community and for around the world.
Welcome to Art to Heart. We are located in Hamel, 20 miles west of Minneapolis. Our vision is for the lives we impact to be transformed through the love and hope of Jesus. Our volunteers do this by blessing others through creativity, through our 3 ministries. Our first ministry is our gift shop. It is a cozy place to find meaningful gifts and community. We offer faith-encouraging, unique, handcrafted, dignity-certified items. Many of the items are made by Christian ministries themselves or serve to directly support specific causes. Our clerks love to connect with our customers, sharing about Art to Heart, the ministries we support, and the stories behind the products. All of our profits are reinvested into local and global ministries. Our other two ministries meet upstairs. Here we will find the Blessing Closet, where we keep supplies supporting our second ministry, Heartreach, through which we encourage individuals and groups in our community with prayer, handwritten notes, and special care packages. Across the hall, we find our third ministry, Creative Hearts. Our talented artists gather each Tuesday, using their gifts to create items used by churches, senior homes, and other ministries to bless their staff and the people they serve. Items have included prayer beads, fabric hearts, bracelets, and blankets. We welcome you to partner with us by connecting us with a ministry or vendor with products we can sell, connecting us with a ministry we can bless with products we make, or loading up your car with friends to shop with us.
Right, well, thank you, Andrea, Pamela, everyone here at Amplify. I'm Janine Vianney. I'm the Executive Director at Art to Heart, and I'm really excited to share our ministry with you today. Lori Wessling started Art to Heart about 20 years ago. She had just become a new Christian, and she felt the Holy Spirit moving her to use her creativity for his kingdom. So she started making and selling beaded flatware. You can see some of it pictured here. And she gave away all the proceeds to a village in Zambia. So God took this small act of obedience and brought Art to Heart to where we are today. So 20 years later, we strive to stay true to our vision. We really want the lives impacted by Art to Heart to be transformed by the love and hope of Jesus Christ. We do this with 80 volunteers, blessing others through creativity, through 3 ministries. And by the way, Lori is still with us, one of those volunteers. So our most visible is our gift shop in Hamel. So the shop supports other Christian ministries in the work that they do by providing a marketplace for the items that they sell. We also offer items by local artists and other vendors to round out the product offering. And what's really full of wonder is that we give away all of our profits from the gift shop. Next, we have our Heartreach ministry, which is really the heart of Art to Heart and the one that Pamela was speaking about. So we really feel compelled to comfort people in need. And we do so with prayer, handwritten notes, and care packages. We'll send those to individuals as well as to groups such as first responders, which we did a lot of that during COVID. Anyone can request a care package. It could be a customer in the shop. It could be a volunteer. It could be someone online. You will actually have the opportunity to do so later tonight if you'd like. And then finally, we have Creative Hearts. So this group of artists meets Tuesdays, and they make beautiful items. Some of the items are Bible covers for the residents of Minnesota Adult and Teen Challenge. We have wind chimes for a grief support group at St. Philip the Deacon. And then we have greeting card packs for folks that are in assisted living facilities and can't get out to Walgreens to buy their birthday cards. They make all of these items with a lot of joy and a lot of laughter. If you're ever in the shop on a Tuesday, it's super loud, and we're always a little bit afraid that the floor is going to fall into the first floor, but yeah, we've been lucky so far. All of these Heartreach and Creative Hearts items are provided for free. We want to stay responsive to what God puts in front of us, and that ebbs and flows every year, but these figures here are a really good representation of what our annual impact is. $42,000 in grants are given away to different Christian ministries, and these are generated directly from the profits of our shop. So when we sell more, we can give away more. Last year, we sent 74 Heartreach care packages out. We have 31 prayer warriors that are constantly praying as these prayer requests come in. And our Creative Hearts group, even though they're meeting on Tuesdays and sometimes a little more, they made over 3,600 items that we gifted to 28 different organizations. So remember, this started out with the Holy Spirit and some beaded flatware, both of which you will still find at our shop today. Below, you'll see some of the ministries that we support. Now let me share you some of the ways that Art to Heart has been making an impact. One of our gift shop vendors is Terebinth. I actually learned about Terebinth through Amplify a couple of years ago with my friend Mary Lynn, who's here tonight. They're just outside of St. Cloud, and they are a Christ-centered organization that brings hope and healing to sexually exploited and trafficked women. We buy the personal care items that those women make as part of their employee readiness program. So we love to talk about something we call the multiplier effect. Right? Just like loaves and fishes, God will multiply whatever we are doing if we are doing it in His name. So when we buy from Terebinth, we help fund the organization, right? So Terebinth is blessed. The women are learning work skills, so the women are blessed. Then we turn around and eventually sell their product, right? So the customer's blessed because they get a really great product, but they can also feel good to knowing that their purchasing dollars are being put to great use. And then we get profits from those sales, so then other ministries are blessed with grants from those profits. So the blessings just keep multiplying. We want more vendors like this. One of our global vendors is Azerbaijani socks. They are really poorly named because they make much more than socks. They make really cute mittens, they make finger puppets, and they have these really adorable knitted ornaments that we sell over Christmas time. Now, in country, they employ over 170 knitters and suede workers. So when we sell their product, we're helping them earn an income and provide for their families. But what's really exciting is that it allows foreigners to get a visa to work in their country, where they're building relationships and sharing the gospel. So we want more vendors like this too. Now let me share with you about a few of the ministries we support. Light of Hope is a girls' school in Kenya. They serve over 100 students, about half of which live on campus in a really loving Christian environment. Its leaders, Sandy, Boney, and Erin, are here tonight, so you can chat with them about Light of Hope. So we support them in 3 ways. Our Creative Hearts ladies just love this ministry. We started out making actually pajama bottoms for them, because who knew it got cold in Kenya at night, and the girls were sleeping in their uniforms. So from there, we started knitting hats, and then they started sewing hygiene kits that the girls use. Secondly, we have 2 local artists. One makes beautiful pottery, and the other makes really cute dishware. They donate those items to the shop, and when those specific items sell, the proceeds goes to Light of Hope. And then Light of Hope also receives a portion of our gift shop profits. So we want more ministries like this. Now, many of you heard Danielle speak back in January. Danielle's here tonight. You can speak with her again if you'd like. Art to Heart supports their December event, which serves the homeless in Minneapolis. Creative Hearts knitted over 800 hats and scarves for the event. Our Heart Reach team wrote encouraging notes on the back of faith-based bookmarks that each guest received in their backpack, and then several of the volunteers volunteered at the event. We served at the event. So we'd like more ministries like this too. Now let me introduce you to Terry and little Gracie. About a year ago, a customer came in the gift shop, and she wrote out a prayer request for her friend Jenna. Jenna had recently miscarried and was praying for a baby. So Heart Reach got on it, they prayed, and they sent a care package. Jenna got pregnant and had Gracie. Fast forward a year, Jenna's in the shop with little Gracie, and she starts chatting with Terry, who's our clerk. Well, Terry is also one of our prayer warriors. Jenna was sharing, just kind of like Pamela was, how touched she was by the care package she received. She also received a bookmark in that care package with the exact verse that she was praying, faith over fear. So Terry, who is like all things Art to Heart, remembers praying for Jenna the year before. So they made this great connections. Their families now hang out with each other. Terry is like a foster grandmother to little Gracie. And they just spend so much time together that This is like a great example of the lives impacted and the connections that are made at Art to Heart. So we want more connections like this. We're able to do all that we do with 80 volunteers, really talented volunteers, talented in many ways. We have no payroll. Nobody has a salary. So why do folks bother to volunteer here? Well, we just feel like it's a great place to work to be something bigger than ourselves, right? And it's also a good place for a lot of people to use their creative gifts. There are a lot of artists out there that don't know what to do with their skills. Well, they can definitely use them here. They love hearing about the vendors that we buy from and the ministries that we support. And it is just an awfully fun place to volunteer, right? We laugh a lot. We do cry sometimes. We pray for each other. And we definitely feel God's presence in the building. So our ask tonight is not about personnel. We are also really fortunate to have a very simple financial model. Basically, we pray. We send out a fundraising letter in the fall. We literally call it the Fall Frenzy Letter. And then throughout the year, but mostly in the fall, we raise all the funds that we need to cover our operating expenses like rent and utilities. God has provided us with exactly what we need. That lets us give away 100% of our profits from the gift shop. So what we get in, we give out. So our ask tonight is not financial. Our ask revolves around connections. We want to connect with people, and we want to do that in person. We feel like it's the best way to build community and to share our mission. And when the opportunity presents itself, and it often does, we pray with people and we share our faith. So this starts at the gift shop. Once we get folks in the shop, we seem to get the ball rolling. So customers come in, they shop, they find great products, they tell their friends who come in and shop, they start chatting with our clerk who shares our mission, they get really excited, they volunteer, they start using their creativity to bless others, they start to join the prayer team and pray with us. They tell us about other vendors we can support and other ministries that we can support. They become clerks, they talk to customers, and then the cycle continues. So we want more customers in the shop. Now, while we have an online presence with a beautiful website designed by Christine over there, we don't want to be an e-commerce platform. We are nowhere near Amazon, right? And customers have an expectation that you're Amazon if you have an e-commerce platform. We tried it for a bit. It didn't make us any meaningful connections, and it made us miserable. So we're taking that off the table tonight. What we want are more customers in the shop. So our current customers, mostly women, mostly 30 and older, mostly from our surrounding suburbs, in the western suburbs, just west of Plymouth. They're purpose-driven shoppers. They love our mission. They love to hear about the product they're buying and the story behind their product, and they love putting their purchasing dollars to good use. They shop for themselves, they shop for their friends, they shop for their family. We want more of them. Now, how do we get the customers in the shop now? Honestly, it's mostly word of mouth. We do very little outside of that, but we are open to all options. So with that, we would love your help. How can we increase awareness about Art to Heart to get more customers visiting the gift shop? Thank you.
I am one of those purpose-driven shoppers. I was in Friday, yes. I love buying my gifts there. It's really meaningful when you give a gift from Art to Heart and you can share the Art to Heart story. So just keep that in mind. It's really fun to give gifts from. So Janine, you have something at the center of each table that you want to tell people about.
Yes, so we have one of our Heart Reach gifts at the center of the table. So think about someone you may want to encourage, maybe someone that needs some comfort. After the presentations are done, but before we switch tables, figure out who at the table is going to take that gift to bless somebody with. Now, if there's more than one of you, I do have a few extras, so come see me after. We also, when you leave, some of my Art to Heart colleagues will be handing out a little package of items for each of you. There's a $5 coupon for the shop. There's a card explaining an opportunity to host a private shopping event for your specific ministry where you could raise money for them, like Light of Hope has done. We have 2 bookmarks, one for you to keep and one for you to bless someone else with. And there's also a card here if you would like to request a prayer and a care package for someone, which you can leave here tonight, or you can do it online with the fancy QR code later.
Great. So everybody is going to get one of these, and then at your table, before you move, you're going to decide who has somebody that they can bless with this. Pretty special that you get to do that tonight. We want to take a couple of moments to just throw this out to the whole room tonight. If you have a question right now that you would like to ask Janine that would really help you before you go into the brainstorm time. Whether you're sitting at this side or whether you're sitting at this side of the room, anybody can ask a question that might actually, your question might help clarify something that somebody else is thinking as well. So if you have a question for Janine, raise your hand. Yes, can you shout it out? Where in Hamel are you located?
95 Hamel Road, next to the post office, just on top of Aldi.
Find Hamel first. So, Hamel is right next to Plymouth and Medina, if you're familiar with Medina, that some people get confused with Edina. Yes. Mike. How many people visit the shop every day now?
Sometimes just a handful, sometimes maybe 20 on a Saturday.
And there are certain months that are busier, leading up to the holiday season. Yes.
Do you use that upstairs space for any kind of events right now outside of your organization?
We haven't yet, actually, mostly just internally.
So the question was the event space upstairs. Upstairs, could it be used for event space? Right now it's just for crafting and creating to happen. Yes.
What
Days and hours open.
We're open Wednesday to Saturday, 11 to 3 each day. Thursdays we're open till 6 and Fridays to 5. And then Wednesday and Saturday, 11 to 3.
Yes, Heidi.
Besides the online store, are there any other things that you've tried that you definitely don't want to do?
We have brought product off-site to sell, and without a robust inventory system, it just gets to be messy, so we typically don't bring stuff off-site to sell.
Kelly.
But otherwise, we're open.
Kelly.
Do you have a current ask right now for the vendors that you're working with?
Yes, we would love more vendors. Is that what, are you asking for more vendors, or?
Do you have a current ask for the vendors that are, like all the supplies that you get from the current vendors and how we spread awareness?
Oh, no, we don't. It's a great idea.
Write that down, Kelly.
Yeah. Thank you.
Very good, very good, thank you. Okay, there was a question here. Somebody? No? Over here, okay. Yes, no? I'm sorry. Andrea.
What is your top-selling product?
The top
Okay, I'll
selling
ask
product.
my colleagues. Jewelry.
Jewelry.
But the beaded flatware still sells.
I can
but
tell you what
jewelry.
my favorite product to buy is. It's the stones that some of my friends in this room haven't. It's the stones that have a Bible verse carved in it, and those stones come from Ephesus. And I give them as grad gifts, and it's because perfect for a dorm room. Okay, right here.
Would the artists and creative arts be able to teach others what they do, like crafting classes, bringing in youth groups, Girl Scout groups, whose parents would have to also come in with them and walk through the store?
That is a great idea.
Can,
We have not done that. That is
yeah.
a great idea.
Can the artists teach others their gift of crafting? Yeah, that's great. Can you write that down? Thank you. Okay. One or two more questions. Yes.
Have you developed any kind of a network with other retailers in your area or ministries like yourself? I know you're unique, but
Not too much. not
Yeah,
too much.
and network with other retailers.
Yeah.
Hamel doesn't have a lot, but those in Hamel you have a network with, some of the stores in Hamel.
There's a few stores in Hamel. One just closed, which has been affecting sales because they drove a lot of traffic. So. Write that idea down.
Yeah, write that idea down. That would be a fun
idea.
bus ride.
I think that's a great
okay, we'll
idea.
take one more question. Yep. Yes, you. Yes, thank you.
We've just signed a 3-year lease, but after that, I think we're open.
However, a lot of your volunteers are from those neighborhoods surrounding
Right.
Hamel.
Many of our volunteers are within 5 miles, but yeah, there's a lot of things in 5 miles.
Okay, thank you. Your other ideas, Janine will be walking around and can answer questions during the brainstorm time. Okay. So thank you.
Thank you all.
All right, now I'm going to invite up one of our fabulous coaches, Seth Ralston, who is going to introduce Tommy, the next executive director who will present tonight.
So about 2 years ago, I had started my job at Thrivent, working in the community engagement space, and I got introduced to Tommy. I was at a networking event. Somebody knew that I love basketball. Somebody knew that Tommy loved basketball, and they said, you guys need to talk. And so we bonded right away, and since then we've gotten to know each other. We bonded over talking basketball, fatherhood, leadership, mentorship, all kinds of things. And then Amplify reaches out to me and says, hey, we see you know Tommy. We would love to walk alongside him. And what you'll see tonight is a guy who is super passionate. He's committed to making a difference. He's got a crazy story. I can't wait for you to hear it. But he needs to link up with great people like you. I think he's right there, ready to make an even greater impact. And so I'm looking forward for you guys to hear his story, hear what he's doing, and then work with him as we leave this room tonight. So I think draw your attention to the screens for a quick video and then get to meet Tommy.
A man who knows firsthand the impact of gun violence is now using that knowledge to help others.
Tommy McBrayer started Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Hoops. The goal of his nonprofit is somewhat self-explanatory, but as WCCO's Jennifer Merely found in our latest Cost of Gunfire series, basketball is just one part of what these young men are learning.
Let's do it together. Hard work on 3. 1, 2, 3. Hard work.
This is where they come together. On the court.
That's all right.
Teenagers from around the metro. Different backgrounds with more than basketball in common.
Ball there.
Tommy McBrayer brought them together.
Man, the goal is like to prevent gun violence in one community at a time.
Line it up, Purple.
He knows from experience.
I was selling weed just to pay my rent and had a drug deal go bad. I ended up tied up, shot, left for dead in the hallway of a duplex at 20 years old. And right there, that was the first time that it was a wake-up call. You know, either you want to go down that route still or you want to change your life.
He survived and says he straightened out his life. Still, 10 years later, he was shot again, this time by someone he considered family.
Conversation going the wrong way, and I ended up getting shot 2 times in my stomach just in July of 2019.
He worked on his own healing, physical, mental, and emotional, and fully looked at the community around him.
Seeing a lot of my friends die from gun violence, go to jail from gun violence, just feel like I need to do something about it.
All right.
He took his shot.
Okay, and then the next person.
And started Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Hoops.
Get it up there, get it up there, get it up there.
There's too many people just shying away from the issue. You know, they're not being bold about saying stop gun violence. So I want to be bold. I want to be bold. There's no hidden agenda.
Purple team, green team.
The nonprofit reaches out to schools to find students who can benefit from being part of the program. Some have experienced the cost of gunfire in their own lives.
I came to this program because like I lost my brother, to keep my mind off of the situation.
Jontavian's brother, Jonte Hudson, was gunned down at Mall of America in 2022. He says being here helps with the pain.
I can interact with more people, talk about things, and then just have fun at the camp.
Terrence Heron calls basketball his outlet.
It's kind of like therapy, almost.
He says he's learning from the coaches after also losing his brother to gun violence.
It's like they came back from crazy situations that I wouldn't think would be possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, getting shot, you know, losing family members, and like not retaliating. And the fact that they pushed that aside and leveled up themselves from that situation, it's really like inspiring.
McBrayer says the goal is to lead with love.
Woo, that was nice.
To help these young men make positive choices for better outcomes.
Just staying busy, just not like indulging in gun violence in general. Just making sure I'm just doing something with my life in general.
Good work, Purple. Good work.
While intertwining messages of nonviolence, discipline, compassion, and work ethic into the game.
You become a better leader, then you're a better leader in the household. You're a better leader with your friends. You're a better leader in the school. If you get a job, you're a better leader at the workplace. So that's where we're trying to install just leadership qualities that they probably didn't think they had in them.
Boys and men on 3, family on 6. 1, 2, 3. Boys and men. 4, 5, 6. Family. Let's go, baby.
With photojournalist Grant Verdon, Jennifer Merely, WCCO Investigates.
How y'all doing today? First, I want to say thank you to my coach Seth and Clinton that couldn't be with us. He's in Duluth right now taking care of some business. My name is Tommy McBrayer. I'm the founder and CEO of Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Hoops. I was born and raised in South Minneapolis. Basketball has always been a huge part of my life. Couldn't keep the ball out of my hand as a kid. My sophomore year in college, I got a phone call that I had a daughter on the way, and that drove me to drop out of college. And my life took a turn after that. After I dropped out of college, I was hanging around the wrong people, started indulging in the wrong activities. Like you said in the video, I did get tied up, shot, left for dead in a duplex hallway at just 20 years old. I was in an intensive care unit for 10 hours, fighting for my life. Very little family support, no mom when I woke up, no dad when I woke up. But I had God for the biggest challenges of my life, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Throughout this journey, man, I can't tell you, all I had was a pocket full of faith. Couldn't really see hope down the line, couldn't see a light at the end of the tunnel. But little did I know, that's all I needed. I knew God wasn't done with me, and he gave me a second chance to live, and I wasn't going to waste it. I started my healing journey and self-love journey. And in this process, I learned just how big the problem of gun violence is, how normal it's become, and how little help survivors get. I wanted to use my platform to do something about the increase in violence in Minneapolis. Our mission is to end gun violence one community at a time. I hosted an event called Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Hoops in November 2021. It had over 350 people in attendance. That's how I knew I was on to something special. The CEO of the gym, David Hahn, he reached out to me and said, Tommy, I want to help you make a nonprofit. I want to help you make this Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Hoop a nonprofit. 3 years later, I stand with you guys, the proud founder and CEO of Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Hoops. We serve communities affected by gun violence. My mission is to end gun violence one community at a time. As you all know, gun violence is a national crisis, and right here in the state of Minnesota. Did you know that black men 25 years and under are 22 times more likely to get shot by a firearm than anybody else, any other race? Let that sink in. 22 times more likely. Gun violence is the leading cause of death among youth and young adults. Gun violence exposes our community to PTSD, antisocial behavior, depression, and anxiety. And when you dig deeper to the root of the problem, you'll find a lack of mentorship, direction, hope, faith, and most importantly, love. Since the pandemic, we have seen a decrease in our youth and young adult social emotional skills. It's easy to do the wrong thing when you don't have the right influences around you, the right resources, and the right people. We create a safer space for youth and young adults to be heard, valued, and uplifted. We provide structure, mentorship, and coaching they need to build self-love, to be a healthy leader. A healthy leader. Our organization uses basketball as a vehicle to bring violent prevention events to the inner cities affected by gun violence. This isn't just basketball. This is my ministry. We give youth and young adults a space to heal despite their trauma. We address anger management, trauma, de-escalation, anti-racism, and meditation. We provide mentorship, teach accountability, vision, and friendship. For example, through this camp, there's no phones outside your room. So if you see a kid at breakfast or during lesson and they have their phone out, they'll be told to do 20 to 50 push-ups. But that's our way of holding every last person accountable for their actions. And it's been working. We pray 4 times a day. Sometimes you'll see a kid that never prayed a day in his life. And we encourage them. I say, talk to the man upstairs like you're talking to your friend. And that's the encouragement they need. We take young men from the everyday environments and merge them in a space of new possibilities. Our basketball programs go beyond the game. We teach life skills while building self-confidence and leadership abilities. These basketball programs range from summertime programming while kids are out of school to weekly leadership classes at North St. Paul High School. Our largest basketball community event right now is November Madness. 16 teams, 160 players, gym full of young adults, 18 plus. All right. Our Boys and Men Camp, 56 young men, 9th to 12th grade, for a spring break and Thanksgiving break. We offer a series of one-time violent prevention events in the community in partnership with other organizations throughout the Twin Cities. One example is Midnight Basketball. We partner with the Boys and Girls Club Jerry Gamble's in North Minneapolis, where we host once a month, a Friday night, where kids are in the gym from 9 at night to 6 in the morning. We have successfully completed 8 of these events already, impacting 500 youth. We also offer trauma healing and support groups, providing a safe space for youth impacted by gun violence. Our mentorship program pairs young people with positive role models, and this is incorporated into basketball events. Throughout all our programs, we play together, we pray together, we eat together, and we learn together, just like a family. We are pointing youth into new possibilities and modeling how to deal with anger, trauma, and conflict in a healthy way. We're quickly growing. Our program has allowed us to engage with 2,000 youth in just 3 years. 2,000 youth. And we are projected to reach another 1,000 youth in 2025. I want to share a little bit more about the Boys and Men Leadership Camp to give you an idea of what happens during our camp and why it's so impactful. This camp is held at the National Sports Center in Blaine during Thanksgiving and spring breaks. We pick up kids on a coach bus in the inner cities. It's 5 days, 4 nights. They stay in the dorm rooms of 4 with bunk beds. They get 3 meals a day. We have daily schedules that every youth is given on the first day. There are no phones, no TVs, no game systems. Youth are waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning meditating, y'all. They each get a pair of shorts, jersey, and this year, every kid received the Anthony Edwards basketball shoes. Y'all give it up for that. Now, wouldn't that be a great thing to be sponsored? Is them shoes be sponsored to the kids? Yes. Local barbers came and donated haircuts to each young man that wanted a haircut. When you feel better, when you look better, you feel better. There you go. Every young man got a Don't Shoot Gun Shoot polo with khaki pants for graduation. We're essentially taking them out of survival mode, giving them skills and positive role models and watching amazing things happen. Kids cry just by being loved and hugged. They learn how to lead, reduce conflict, and ultimately prevent violence in their communities. So far, we have held 4 camps and graduated 150 young men from the camp. We recently just finished one over spring break in May, and on the last day, a young man comes up to me and said, "Tommy, you just don't know how much this camp has changed my life. Can I get a hug?" And I don't know where you're from, but where I'm from, you don't hear that very often. So of course I gave him a hug. So how do we operate? For all you finance people, here's a glimpse of our budget. Our funding comes from individual donors, sponsorships, grants, and foundations. We hosted our first gala in November, and we raised $25,000. On the expense side, our largest expense are operation, payroll, and benefits. $112,800. Our Boys and Men Camp for hosting 2 a year is $82,000. And our rent to keep our doors open is $30,000 a year. As the organization is starting to grow, so are our expenses. Thankfully, we've been a recipient of a significant grant from the government each year, which has been essential as we continue to grow. I want to expand our corporate and sponsorships and partnerships, and we believe we had tremendous opportunity to not only cover some of these expenses, but grow the organization as well. I want to give you a better idea of the items that go into running the Boys and Men Camp. We contract a bus to pick up kids and bring them to Blaine. We provide each participant with a new pair of shoes and a uniform. We rent the faculty space along with the room and board for the week. All meals are prepared by a catering company. Gatorades and snacks are provided throughout the camp. Boys receive a hygiene kit with toothpaste, body wash, deodorant, and mouthwash. Yes, that's heavy on the deodorant, okay? We also give out certificates and trophies at the end of the camp of completion. We have 10 coaches throughout Minnesota that either work in the school, behavior teachers that's currently in school, and they all have an independent contract and they get paid $1,500 to participate in the camp and be a leader. This cost value at the camp per youth is $750, and we have managed to make this free of charge. As I think about the future of the organization and my hopes for the young men, I have so many dreams and goals. We like to offer this camp at least 4 times a year. Right now, we're only doing it 2 times a year. We would like to scale to other cities nationwide. There's a need for this program in multiple cities. We're interested in incorporating other sports and serving girls as well. We would like to also have our own sports facility of our own to allow for more continual programming and mentorship. Right now, we're purchasing most of these items with very little help. We did a lot of these Boys and Men camps with 0 sponsors. This is a huge opportunity for sponsorships and, most importantly, to be a part of the solution to end gun violence. The bottom line is that we need more funding and partnerships to accomplish these dreams. So my ask tonight is, how can we build a sponsorship model that generates revenue that allows us to grow? Thank you, guys.
You did amazing, Tommy. This room is loving it. Thank you. So you mentioned the Anthony Edwards shoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wouldn't that have been neat if there was a sponsor who provided those Anthony Edwards shoes versus coming out of his budget?
Come on.
Yeah, so that's what we're talking about tonight. We have time for just a couple of questions, so if there's anybody who has questions for Tommy, and again, he'll be walking around during brainstorm time too. Yes. When they finish the camp, ongoing relationship with the boys.
Oh yeah, so yeah, we're trying to build this cycle. When they finish high school, they go to college, and whenever they finally done with school, they can come back and be a leader at the camp. Yep. We're trying to build a fraternity. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. How many family members attend your tournaments? Cheering sections.
Oh yeah, so when we have November Madness, that's 160 players, and we probably have over 500 people in attendance. Even in our boys and men camp, you'll see families come for graduation with flowers, balloons, candy, and stuff like that. And it's like you're taking a lot of inner city youth that might not even graduate high school, but they graduated through the program and still was able to get that encouragement feel of uplifting.
And they're all dressed up.
Oh yeah, they're all dressed up, looking nice.
Yeah. Yes, back here.
Yeah. We are real good partners with the Timberwolves. Not as enough as get the Anthony Edwards and things like that.
So if you have his phone number, he'd love that.
But we got good connection with the Timberwolves. Where we're at in Sabathany, that's where our physical location at. We're on the 3rd floor, and on the 2nd floor, the Timberwolves came and remodeled the whole gym. It's the old Bryan High School that Prince used to go to school at, so it's been remodeled since 50 years ago. So yeah. So we're trying to keep on. We got to keep on proving our way. So we're knocking on the door.
Yeah, good question. Okay, probably time for one more. Is there one more? Okay, yes. How many people affected by gun violence in Minneapolis?
When I first started, it was at 98 homicides in 1 year. And I think as of today, I think we're at 22 homicides since 2025. So.
And it's been you've shared, Tommy, it's been pretty personal just even in these past couple of weeks for you.
Oh yeah, and like I said, like it doesn't stop. There was a lady, and I just want to take a little moment. There was a lady, 19 years old, got shot in her head in Robbinsdale that just now got announced that she pronounced dead yesterday. And she just graduated high school last year. So these are the type of things, it doesn't stop.
All right, thank you. Tommy, thank you. He will be walking around. Okay, now is the fun time. I can tell the brainstorming is already happening. That's great. That's exactly what you came for, and we are really excited to get to that point. So think about which nonprofit that you would like to spend time brainstorming for. Art to Heart is over here. Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Hoops is over here. Before you move, I have a couple instructions for you. Remember to pick somebody at your table to take that blessing kit. So who at your table has somebody to bless that you can take the Art to Heart blessing kit? Please do that before you move. This is a great time to throw away trash. We have a big trash bin over here. I think where this one is overflowing, so please use this trash bin. We have recycling. Just a moment. Don't move yet. I want you to hear this part. To maximize our time, we have 30 minutes. The executive directors will be walking around and they can help answer questions at your table. Remember, this is really key. I want you to be as specific and detailed as possible as you can with your information. That's the most helpful thing. So think about it. If you're flying in an airplane and you're 30,000 feet in the air, you can see the general landscape, okay? But if I'm down on the ground and I'm walking, I can see the buildings and I can see the details and I can see the specific steps. That's what we're looking for. Detailed feedback, detailed ideas. That's what will help the executive directors the most. Okay. Now you can move. Thank you so much. All right. We are going to end our brainstorm time. Thank you for all the wonderful ideas at the tables. We really appreciate you caring so much to offer all the wonderful ideas. So thank you. Real briefly, I want to just tell you about Amplify and ways that you can plug in. So being here tonight is a huge way to volunteer with Amplify, so thank you for using your ideas. If you would like to dig in a little deeper with Amplify, we do have an opportunity for you to do that. That's coming up on Tuesday next week in the morning. You can meet with Steph, our volunteer coordinator, to hear about ways that you can dive in more with Amplify. You could be a coach for one of the presenting nonprofits. You could be a consultant or a mentor. We are looking for business leaders with all types of expertise to walk alongside nonprofits. So that's an opportunity to just really dig a little deeper into what does it mean to volunteer with Amplify. There's a volunteer table also tonight, and there will be people there who can answer questions, particularly about how you can connect with Amplify. So I know many of you are interested in that, so please stop at the volunteer table. Also, I would love to share with you just a little bit about giving back to Amplify. So you being here, that is huge for us, just giving your expertise, and I want you to hear that very clearly from me. But if you are feeling called to give financially to Amplify, that is something that we want to invite you into that opportunity as well. We are in the middle of our spring campaign to raise $100,000, and we've raised to date $51,000, so we have $49,000 to go. So we would love, thank you. So we would love you to consider that as well, whether you could give a gift of $100 or $5,000. We'd love you to consider giving to Amplify. As you can see, we are growing. We have a lot of momentum right now. There's a lot of business leaders wanting to get plugged in, and we would love more opportunities to be able to offer to that. And we also do have more and more nonprofits applying for our programs. So we receive at least one application a week now from a nonprofit. That's not how it used to be. And we are so grateful to be able to partner with nonprofits in our community, but it does take your support as well. Also just wanted to let you know about sponsoring, and I shared with that earlier, is that sponsoring, if you own a business or you are a member of a business and they would like to sponsor one of these meetings, we are looking for sponsors for our July meeting, our September meeting, and our November meeting. So I'd love to talk to you about that. And then finally, share about Amplify. Many of you do that, and after the meetings, that is actually a blessing to our team as well, that we get to read on LinkedIn or social media where you're sharing about your experience being here tonight, and I know it's a blessing to the executive directors who get to read about what you've learned about them. So share on social media, follow us on social media. We would love for you to do that as well. All right, so the AMP accelerators, I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. This is a way, if tonight it touched you about with Art to Heart or Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Hoops, that you were like, I want to dig in more, I want to learn more, and I also want to raise my hand to maybe help them through some of the issues that they brought up tonight, or maybe there are other issues. We're going to be diving in over Zoom on these AMP accelerators, really crafting an action plan for Tommy and for Janine moving forward in these next 90 to 180 days. So this is a 1-hour virtual meeting that you can sign up on your feedback form, or there will be an email that will be coming out and you can RSVP through that email as well. They are coming up on Wednesday and Thursday morning from 8 to 9. And the executive directors will be leading that AMP accelerator and really asking you more questions about how you can lean into their organizations. The July meeting is coming up on July 29th. This will be a really neat meeting with 2 executive directors who will be presenting, one from Hope-Filled Cafe. Hope-Filled Cafe has a cafe that they're actually going to be bringing on wheels, where they employ individuals with autism and cognitive disabilities. And Rejoice Apparel will be a fun nonprofit for us to have with them as well. They serve overseas in Pakistan, and we have the opportunity to have some of their apparel that will be Amplify branded with us in July as well. So that will be a way for you to be able to support that nonprofit. The guest speaker for the evening is Jean Abbott, and she has a story about how she lived 3 decades undergoing unnecessary medical interventions due to being misdiagnosed as a young child. So she talks about the power of purpose and positive attitude in overcoming challenges and inspiring people to live a fulfilling life. So that's July 29th. You will find survey cards. That's our next part of the meeting, and your table. We'd love for you to fill those out. We do take your feedback to heart, and we do make changes based on your feedback. So we value your feedback and would be grateful for you taking time to provide that. So as we've been shining the light tonight on our volunteers, we're doing something new and special and celebratory. So I want you to celebrate with me. See the confetti? We have 2 volunteers who, let's see, what's the total? 56 Amplify events over the years in total. So Rob Redding and Terry Hands, if you are in the room tonight, I have something special for you, thanks to our partnership with Schuler Shoes. So you can come and get these. Al is going to help me give them out. Thank you. Thank you, Rob. Thank you. Thank you, Terry. Well, we can't do Amplify without our volunteers, so we have to recognize them. But tonight we get to recognize 2 new people in the room. So if you are new with us, I'm going to if I draw your name, you get to win a Schuler's gift card as well. Okay, so the first person is Jennifer Jones. Yay! Thank you for being with us. And the second one, Robin Rourke. Robin, are you here? Okay. Robin is here. Wonderful. All right. Can I ask those that are new in the room tonight to do something? Before we used to pass the mic. It's too many new people in the room. But I would love for you, if you are new tonight, we're going to go into networking after this, if you would stand up, if you're new tonight. And keep standing. Okay, we're gonna try something. So on the count of 3, we're all gonna. If you're new tonight, think of a word that you would categorize tonight for you. So think of a word, and we're going to shout it out all at the same time at the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Well, that was amazing. I heard amazing. Okay. Thank you. So for those of you who saw a new person in the room tonight and you've been coming to Amplify for quite a while, I would love for you to just say hello and welcome and be the welcoming community that we are. So thank you for doing that. This is a time now for you to just hang out and network and continue connecting. Please do pick up your feedback forms and drop them off on your way out this evening. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We are grateful to have you here.